marathons or ultra marathons typically start at 50 kilometers. So I ran my first 50K race in 2007, ran my first 100-mile race in 2009, ran my first 48-hour race in 2012. And there was a goal. I set a goal in 48 hours to run at least 200 kilometers so that I could get the big belt buckle, not the little one. If I ran less than 200K, I would get the small one. So in 48 hours, I ran 201 kilometers, and they gave me one of those. That's the big one. A couple days later, when I got home, I looked through, well, I got a massage, and I looked through the results online and discovered that I'd come pretty close to a podium finish, pretty close to the top 3, which was amazing for me. I'm a back-of-the-pack runner. And it became a challenge for me for the next year. So I registered for the next year's run, trained a little harder, ran a little bit faster, with the goal of getting onto the podium for the next year. The next year I ran 216 kilometers, that was 2013, and finished as, and they gave me another one of these, and I finished as second place male. But then that was a challenge for the next year. I had to win. I had a podium finish, and I had to try and win the next year. So I registered for the next year's run, and I needed a secret weapon because I knew this smart aleck kid that was inside of here didn't deserve to be up on the podium. So I've got a couple friends that are good friends of mine that have won 100-mile races and multi-day races. So during my training, as well as during the race the next year, when I got really tired and found myself walking or found myself wanting to walk, I would ask myself, what would the winner be doing right now? Not me. What would the winner be doing right now? What would Stephen be doing? What would Charlotte be doing right now? They wouldn't be walking. They'd be running. This is a race. Move your ass. So it was a really good motivator, a reminder to me to get moving. And I had to find someone outside of me, because I still had, and we were talking about self-image a little earlier, I still had this back-of-the-pack runner, former smoker, arthritis sufferer, couch potato guy that was still residing in here. So I ran the third year. I finished 200 kilometers, a full 5 hours faster than I did the first year. They gave me another one of these. I'm the only guy in the world that has 3 of these, by the way. And I ran a full 225 kilometers that year and finished as first place male. And they gave me one of these. Not nearly as big as a Stanley Cup, but it says first place male on it. And that was the summer of 2014. And of course, I bragged to all of my friends because there weren't a lot of people present at the race and it wasn't on the front page, right? And a bunch of things kind of happened all around the same time. There was a lot of media coverage about our first responders, military and police veterans struggling with PTSD and high suicide rates. One friend of mine registered for a 600-kilometer race, so I became aware that running 600 kilometers was a thing. Another friend of mine said I should run across Canada for a charity, and my first thought was, well, I don't have enough vacation time, because I knew how long it would take. And that's the summer that actor Robin Williams died by suicide. And that got me thinking about my own life. I've got a little brother named Robin Williams. He's still with us, but 2 of my older brothers took their own lives. And my wife, my daughter, and my oldest sister all struggle with depression. So all of those things coming together in that summer were the inception for a thing called the Canal Pursuit for mental health that Leah mentioned. The Canal Pursuit is a 785-kilometer run from Port Severn to Ottawa, roughly following the Trent Severn Canal and the Rideau Canal, and finishing on Parliament Hill. And the plan was I would run about 100 kilometers a day for 7.5 days, do a fundraiser for the Mood Disorder Society of Canada, and move on to the next thing the next year. So I recruited a crew, booked vacation time, connected with the Mood Disorder Society, the Defeat Depression campaign, and started promoting the run. And the more I learned about the work that the mood disorders does, and the need there is for a decent public mental health care system in Canada. I think Canada's mental health care system is, let's say, in its infancy. We have a lot to learn. The more I learned about that, the more I thought there's more that I can do than just asking people to redirect their donation dollars. So what could I do? I asked myself, or I spent a lot of time thinking about what a right brain engineering kind of socially awkward guy can do to help people that are struggling with depression and anxiety. And what I came up with, or what I learned, is that I'm not a counselor, I'm not a therapist, so I don't think I can help individual people, but there's a stigma associated with mental health, mental illness. And I think the way to end a stigma, or at least knock it down some, is by talking about it more. I think the more people hear conversation about mental health, mental illness, the less uncomfortable they are around it. And that's proven true with violent video games, right? The more people hear about a topic, the less uncomfortable they are about it. So my hope is, if I can talk to a lot of people, maybe people will be a little less uncomfortable talking about mental health or mental illness at home with someone they love, across the kitchen table, maybe at work, across the boardroom table, at the management meeting, maybe across the floor of the legislature, maybe in Parliament. Maybe if I talk to the right person or a couple people of influence, maybe they're the smart guys that know what's going on, and they can help direct Canada's mental health care dollars and spend them wisely. And that's kind of a stretch. So I don't know if that's going to happen, if I'm going to talk to the right politician or politicians. But I know that if I talk to a lot of people, all those people as a group will be a voice for a community. And a community has big votes. The community controls who gets elected, where dollars are spent, who gets promoted. So it's my hope, and I don't think I'm the only one that's doing this kind of work. So it's my hope that just by talking to people, and I can talk to people, talking to you guys, that I can help Canada's mental health care system grow up. So the first year, I ran the Canal Pursuit, 2015. I ran 90 kilometers a day, a little short of my 100-kilometer goal because I sustained an injury partway through and slowed me down a little bit. And I talked to probably a couple dozen people, everyone that I saw, because I ran day and night. Everyone that I saw on the street, I would say, hey, I'm running to Ottawa for mental health, and start a conversation. The goal was to talk to people. The second year I ran it, 2016, I ran 60 kilometers a day, intentionally to allow more time to talk to people. And I talked to a couple hundred people in small groups and one-to-ones. The third and fourth year, it was set up as a relay, so I had far more people involved. The third year, 35 relay runners. This year, about a month ago, 55 relay runners. Each one of those runners let their social circle know what they were doing and why, expanding the breadth of that conversation. So there was something that I could do. But something more direct than that, I guess. Before I started the run in the first year, in 2015, in the race season leading up to that first year, I bought this Canadian flag. And I took it with me to all of the races through that summer, and asked people, if you or someone you know is struggling with depression, anxiety, PTSD, any mood disorder, please sign this flag. Oh, thank you. And I'll carry it to Ottawa, the full distance of my run, as a symbol that you don't have to carry your burdens alone. And I've had the opportunity to carry it up onto Parliament Hill 4 years in a row. And that flag symbolizes for a couple hundred people hope that someone wants to help them. I want to help them. Thank you.